All right. I've been doing some vibe coding with Google AI Studio and Cursor, and I'm gonna make this video on, you know, basically putting together a Chrome extension and running it and kind of doing things. The main use case is that I uh, save and watch a lot of YouTube videos that deal with coding and things like that. And it's just kind of over the past 10 years, it's been hard to keep track of all my links and things like that. For example, latest, and it just goes on and on and on. And it's just really kind of hard to keep track of what I'm watching. This is Brandon's site that I use quite a bit, and he's got some interesting code that allows you to chat with your YouTubes. But first things first is since I'm lazy, I want to be able to uh, save the particular YouTube that I'm watching. In order to do this, when you create the plugin, you'll see this YouTube Summary Manager, and you can click on it or you can do a hotkey. And as you can see, it flew through, created a tab, and it looks like this channel ID and URL are correct in video ID. You could say save current, and it saves it into um, the downloads YouTube summaries. Now there has been some bugs that I've ran into, obviously with the AI code generation, and what we really want is we want the names of the channel here, and not these crazy things. But it just saved it. Let's see right now. And this is all the plugin does, or the extension does. It just writes in JSON, and these are the pieces of information I need if I want to go and run a transcription process on the YouTube video. So first things first, get it into JSON. Maybe later on, I'm still working on the back end, designing the back end for it. And what you would really want is, all these videos that are showing up, you want those to, you want to go out to the web server or the API server and get this list. The code currently saves this information in the Chrome local storage, which I kind of told the code don't do that, and it did it anyway, and that causes some confusion. One of the big confusing things is when you uh, delete when you manage your extensions, when you remove this extension, uh, what you have to do on a regular basis when you're coding, making changes, getting rid of it, reloading, well, the local storage goes away. So you have these orphaned um, files in here, which have good data, but they won't show up anymore. Anyway, that's where the software engineering comes in. The URL for the prompt, I'm sorry, for this extension is right here. So far, it seems to be working, and I did a video a little bit ago, and I noticed that there's some kind of strange caching issue with the channels and it could be a bug in Google's API code. I don't know. But I noticed that it wasn't saving. For instance, the JavaScript had a hard time getting the channel name. Because Google's changing things, and that's understandable. But the this is the link to the AI Studio, and you can use this to kind of, of course, this is an AI Studio. Maybe you could do it in an OpenAI, which I do have an account, and you could see my thought process. And then Google will think about it, or Gemini will think about it, but it kind of creates the manifest for you, and it tells you what to do right about in here. But I wouldn't use this code because the code on the GitHub has been debugged and refined um, quite a bit. So I wouldn't use any of this, but you can go through and see what the thought process was. I went back and forth. Hardest thing for me to do was I had to go create these icons. So, that's another agent that would be nice to give it file names and gen up an image and say, okay, take all these files and create the image sizes for me. I've got some code that will do that. Eventually, we'll get it where you need it. Anyway, you can skip to the bottom. It had some processing code that I was using or was going to use, but I don't really want it to run on my machine. And you can see I'm just having this conversation and I'm getting some pretty good information out of it. So this is, don't use this code, but you can look at the prompts to see what's going on. Um, this code right here seems to be working. Well, what I did was is once the prompts finished up with the code, went over to Cursor, and I just told Cursor in this new folder, I said, just, hey, make me these files. And they were all empty, and I just copy pasted, and from there started going back and forth with the HTML and what I wanted, and Cursor generated the README, and we got it, hey, what are the commands to get this into my repo, and things like that. So almost all of this is well, all of it is basically code that Cursor modified. Now there were some things that weren't working, and I went back and forth with it, and you could see in these permissions it started adding things. You do have to be in dev mode to do this, but I don't want to. I guess I can do it. Go ahead and rebuild it. Maybe I won't. It's such a pain to get it fixed. But again, once once you go into manage and you load, and I have this in my documents summarizer, select folder, and it will appear. And you can also pin it, and you can do Control Shift Y, but if you pin it, there it is, and you just click it when you're on a site. There's Brandon's site again. So 90% of it was built by Chrome, or I'm sorry, Google AI, but it wasn't complete. I may have confused the AI, and I had to obviously get Cursor involved to get it to kind of fix things. One thing I was running into, which Brandon suggested, is not using there seems to be an issue with the when you're talking to the brain, control L. Yeah, you can see a little bit of stuff here. Um, the the model, see now it says Claude Sonnet because I selected that, but it was set up on auto, and who knows what model it used to try to fix things. I had several instances once I, excuse me, got it into GitHub. Um, the cursor would just go off in the weeds. I tried to do some synchronization code on the page, and let's see, let's kill this, let's kill that. If we just bring it up, it says, hey, I can't find anything, but here's the videos. I was trying to synchronize these files that are in the download with what's showing up here, and or do a resync, and it just started really confusing cursor, and it started deleting code and doing crazy things. um, Brandon says use rules, and I need to get better at that in cursor. But I just, the best way to eat your own dog food is blow everything away, download the source, and load the uh, extension back up and run it. So these, again, these, I really want to have channel name in here, um, but the JavaScript was just having a hard time figuring that out. Google changes things. The models are stale, relatively stale, and you would think if you're using Gemini Pro that it would be, and these extensions have been done for quite some time, that it would kind of know how to do all of this. But anyway, back and forth, back and forth. The code finally got to a point to where it would work, and I could just, as you can see in here, maybe there's a way to download, all these chats, and this is back and forth with the channel name still wrong, and it's just whatever model it was trying to use, it wasn't right. So maybe crank it back up. Now it's with Sonnet, and have it re-examine the code and see what it'll do. Brandon's got a great video on doing like a master file markdown that I think is the way to go with these AI coders, to give them, the whole scope of what you're trying to do. But again, this is just the first pass. Um, Once this JSON, not this JSON, the bear with me, downloads in here. Once we have this, we really want to shoot it off to again an external process, doing maybe some of the CRUD stuff. But one of the things is, hey, I want you to summarize this um, video. And it turns out that, you don't necessarily have to transcribe a video if it already exists. So there's the Chrome extension. Here's the other code that I just literally vibe coded and got some help with on the transcript. This is going to be part of the the backend engine to check to see, and this code works. Right now it's hard coded. It's not a tool or anything like that. It's not an agent. It's just the code that knows how to do all the things. And we're going to want to check to see if the site already has a transcription. So you can go in, and what I like about this is I just click on this. There he is. why is it still running? Okay. And then you can see there's the transcript. So you don't need to generate a transcript if it already has a transcript. The reason why we want the transcript and we want, the time slices, timestamps in the transcript is we actually want to have another agent that goes through, and that's the chat agent with this particular URL, YouTube. And maybe it does RAG or it saves that off, and then you can just, hey, how, that link would be somewhere in here and change the UI and clean this UI up to where this page basically has all the, what have I, transcribed? Okay, click on this video or click on the analysis, and then maybe a chat window comes up, and you can ask it questions. Uh, here's one that I saved. These are long videos. I like to work on trucks and cars and hot rods and stuff like that. And we're talking about the reason for the tool uh, to be able to chat with this YouTube. And Brendan has he's got an example of it, how he does it. So you'd maybe have the URL here, and then you can, hey, what front end or what transaxle did he use? I mean, boom, there it is. Instead of you watching the video and having to figure things out. Now, again, if you have the timestamp transcript, the next cool thing would be to jump through the video. Once the agent finds the particular information, it also generates a link that says, hey, you need to go into this video at this point in time. And of course, I know I'm moving my mouse around, but if you could just envision and go to the exact point in that YouTube where that information was that you're interested in. Anyway, I totally get the fact that there's probably services out there that do a lot of this, and that's all well and good. As a developer, sometimes I don't know what's available because it might either not exist, or it's been around for 10 years and you just don't know it. So that's kind of my rant on this. I found out about the Chrome extensions a month or so ago, and people were vibe coding them, and I'm like, well, I'm going to try to do it too. So uh, that's it kind of for the video. If you're all interested, feel free to fork it and help out and do pull requests and things like that. And you can use it and fix bugs and maybe do kind of a community thing. But there's the main use case is there's so much information on YouTube that's buried in the YouTubes themselves, and maybe Google BigQuery will do it. I don't know yet, but I just want a clean interface that I can see what I saved, do a search on what I saved, so this will pull up the videos that had the particular information, and then you can go to the analyzing part and get the information out, and maybe even create another chat GPT, or not, a custom model that has all the information in it, and then you end up chatting with that and getting more and more information out. So I think I covered it. It's pretty simple to do, it looks like, to load them and unload them. And there's this. I'm not a pro. This is a one-shot YouTube video recording, and that's kind of how I do it. I don't spend a lot of time on them, which I should, but making the videos. But I'm lazy and I just want to make the computers. Now we have agents. Hey, this is what I want to do. Create the YouTube, generate all the tags, uh, you know, upload the YouTube, MMFPEG agent, just, you know, start, stop, add text, do this and that, and just it's all agents. Anyway, the next thing I'm going to be looking at is you know, the post processing and a way to um, update the UI of, things or, this thing is processing or this thing failed or whatever, and then you just either kill it and start over, and that's all done in the cloud. I've got a pretty hardcore AWS background, and but this is probably not going to, it's probably not going to need a work with a Lambda. It's going to have a container that can process these things, but having code that you can hit an API and find out what videos are being processed and what's the percentage of processing and things like that. That'd be nice to have. And then eventually they show up in here. So it's got some bugs, but I didn't write the code, right? I just kind of finger wagged and uh, told Cursor kind of sort of what I wanted, and it did the best it could. Wrong project. Anyway, you all get the point. Maybe make a MPC, MCP server, hang all this code off of that, or wrap it with an agent, and that way potentially people can use it as and or a paid service, and being able to plug and unplug third-party services and agents and things like that, and nobody has to know. You just have your maybe there's a config page up here, and it does it all magically. That's about it. Looks like we got some rainy days ahead. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the code.